What's up, everyone? Nick Baldwin from LabCoatAgents. Thank you for joining us today. It's going to be a really fun talk. I got Chris Hubel. I want to make sure it's Hubel and not Hubel.
Pronounced it right. Hubble like the telescope, only spelled different. That is my go-to line for that.
Maybe it's Hubel if you're feeling fancy. But we got Chris Hubel with Inked Michigan Realty with EXP. And Chris is on today for a lot of reasons, but in LabCoatAgents, you may or may not have noticed, you probably did, whenever someone posts, would you ever show up to a listing appointment in sneakers? Or would you show up to show a house in flip-flops? And, it's interesting that so many agents have such a mindset around the way we're supposed to dress, because the way you dress immediately exudes how professional you are. And I'm going to tell you something. I don't wear suits. I wear t-shirts. I wear blazers. I wear jeans. I wear Air Force Ones. I've been selling houses for 15 years. It's never once affected me. In fact, Chris, one time I sold a house to an executive at Nike, and because I was wearing Air Force Ones, I got a brand new pair of Air Force Ones for him when we closed. Anyway, Chris is here because, as you can see, he breaks the mold of the traditional realtor, the way we're supposed to look. Hoops, tattoos, and guess what? His team will do over 100 units with those hoops and tattoos. So everyone say hi to Chris, and Chris say hi to everyone.
Yo, what's up, guys? Thanks for having me on here, guys. I don't know if you knew this or not, Nick, but I actually did have a subscription to LabCoatAgents and used your guys' digital marketing stuff prior to ever having this. I actually stopped using it, and then when you asked me to be on the show, I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll take a look at their tools again and re-signed up for it. You're using your guys' digital marketing stuff again, which has been pretty powerful for me. I mean, I used it for quite a while before as well, but yeah, I'm excited to be here. And dude,
that's LCAmarketingcenter.com, LCAmarketingcenter.com. By the way, Chris, I'm in Michigan too.
Yeah, that's what I hear say. So
yeah, I'm in Clarkston. Where are you?
I live in the Pontiac area. We've got an office in Pontiac and out in Shelby Township.
Dude, we're neighbors.
Yeah, you work closely with Sunshine, right?
Well, no, that's when I had a team. So I don't have my team right now, but I was the team leader at KW Premier in Clarkston. But if you're in Pontiac, we should, once it's safe to be in front of people again, maybe we should, or we could grab a socially distanced beer, whatever you want. But thanks for being here.
The only thing I got to say there, Nick, is it can't be beer. It can be root beer. I've been sober for about 7 years now, so I just celebrated 7 years of sobriety.
Congratulations. And I love root beer.
Yeah, root beer is great. I like food too. I like to eat food. So
maybe we can have a root beer float.
Something. Root beer floats all day. We can share it, put 2 spoons in it, and go to town. Let's do it.
So Chris, your team's going to do over 100 units, and you're really breaking the mold. And every agent has an opinion, right? Agents have very strong opinions. So tell us a little bit, first of all, before we get into how you're owning the way you dress and your style by also putting it in the name of your team, Inked Michigan Realty. How did you get into real estate? Because when you first look at Chris, you would never say this guy's a real estate agent, right? So how did that come to be? What made you interested in that career?
Yeah, for sure. First off, I want to say congratulations to Scott Johnston, because I believe I just saw in the chat that he just celebrated 3 years sobriety, and that's freaking cool. So throw that out there first. So my story, getting into this, I managed a bicycle shop for the longest time, basically the only career I ever knew. Started working there when I was 16 and, thought I was going to eventually just own a bike shop, move out to California and live on the beach, and really, I don't know, that was it for me. But I was a killer salesperson. Every year I was top sales by far. And then going through the process of buying my house was a huge eye opener. So I had just had a son. So I've got a 4-year-old son. And when we first found out about him, we started shopping for a house. The home buying process made me realize that this is the next step for me. This is something that I want to do. And this is something that I feel I could be passionate about and take that next step. So I started taking my classes while I was in the closing process. Obviously, I didn't make the mistake of quitting the job and, blowing up my entire real estate transaction, because kind of knew what I was doing a little bit. So as soon as I closed on the house, I took my exam, got licensed, and jumped in full time. So I quit a career that I'd been in for 12 years and took a giant leap of faith. And the first year, honestly, I thought I made a mistake. But I'll tell you why I thought I made a mistake, because I was listening to everybody else who told me I had to wear a suit and a tie and I had to do things this way because this is the way that real estate is. And you know what? I looked at that and I was like, you know what? It's the way real estate was in the 80s, but I don't think real estate is where it should be today. Right. So let's work on doing that, like let's try, and my little saying is the new look of real estate. Let's try and create the new look of real estate and push this industry into the 21st century,
Yeah, no, I mean, I totally agree with you. And, like I was saying before, I'm very into, owning your style, owning your personality, and we are entrepreneurs, and that gives us an opportunity to just create, a style or a brand. And you've really embraced that brand. And like I said, it's in the name of your team. So talk to me about, when you first got into real estate, did you have the tats and the earrings, or was that something that you weren't sure at first if that would work, and then you gradually like, what, screw this, I'm gonna just do it?
So I started off at Keller Williams in Royal Oak, KW Metro. Great brokerage. It really kind of taught me the basics. But like I was saying before, that while I was there, everything that I knew was everyone trying to tell me to do it the way that everybody else did it. And I just knew, like, deep down, that wasn't me. That wasn't how I was going to get this done. And I started kind of getting worried that, like, maybe this wasn't going to work for me. And then I actually started following Ricky Caruth. I'm sure many of you guys have heard of him. So he's free coaching program, 0 to Diamond, and he does a relationships over transaction type vibe. And that, it really works well with my whole sobriety thing. I mean, being that I've been in AA and like gone through the program, like that's really who I am, is about helping people. And that was one of the big issues with like trying to be a traditional real estate agent, is I don't want to be like cold calling people in the same fashion that everybody else was cold calling people, because, I don't like when people call me like that, like I hang up on them, I get upset. Like I don't want to be a bother to people. I want to honestly help people. So I first got licensed about 3.5 years ago. Like I said, I was with KW for the first year. And at my 1-year anniversary, I decided I was going to jump to EXP. I saw everything they were doing, saw that, this is a brokerage of the future. This is something that I can build within. And I saw the opportunity to build my own brand within EXP a lot easier than what I would be able to do at a traditional real estate brokerage. So that is when I jumped ship, joined EXP, and I started Inked Michigan Realty at that time by myself. So I bought the domain name and kind of started the brand, designed the logos, and did all that jazz. And for the first 6 months or so, I was pushing the brand by myself. And then I ran across an old friend that I used to skateboard with through Kego Harbor throughout middle and early high school. He brought a buyer to one of my closings, Tony Rodriguez, and then I eventually quickly ended up partnering with him, bringing him in as a founder. And then we've also got one other co-founder, Ryan Milo, that we brought in after the fact. He was Tony's mentor for his entire career and was interested in the brand and joined us as well. So the whole name, obviously, like I am completely covered in that.
Nice.
Like I have giant holes in my ears. Like these things were 2 inches big before I had my son. So it was something like, coming into this industry, I knew I was either going to brand myself after it and like, look, this is me, and I'm going to attract people that want to work with cool dudes like myself, or I was going to let it destroy me. I mean,
right.
There's one choice there, like I'm going to build a brand around it, and I'm going to make it like me. And wow, like I never realized how powerful that actually could be. I mean, the amount of attention I've gotten just out of like building this brand that is like based around tattoos, and I mean, it's a catchy name and all, but like it's been super rewarding. I mean, I don't have a job, I don't have a career. I like go have fun, create content, go viral on occasion, and like I don't know.
It's interesting because you get a lot of your business from being real and transparent and being yourself and just really not giving it, you know what. And I think, you know, that's something that we are afraid to do, right? Like on social media, we only want to post when amazing things happen. And, you know, I just want to commend you because the other day you posted about how this pandemic's been really hard and it's been mentally draining. And, you know, you've been depressed and it can happen. And, you know, I'm very open about my mental health and people flock to that. They respect it because it's, even though it's, you know, even though what you're going through may not be rainbows and butterflies, it's refreshing in the sense that you're relating to what everyone's going through, but refuses to admit. And so I would assume that when someone sees you on Facebook and then they realize you're a realtor and they're like, what? This guy, he doesn't give a, you know what? And he is himself and he is transparent and he is true to himself. That's the kind of guy I want to work with. So let me ask you, if when people see that, what type of clientele do you typically attract, you know?
So honestly, pretty much all of my clientele is generally like people that I would then in turn become friends with, which is super cool. So like I built an ideal client avatar a long time ago. Like this is who I'd want to work with, you know? And I stopped caring about pleasing anyone else because I don't want to work with anyone else. I don't want to work with people that I'm miserable working with. I want to work with people that I like working with. And like by building an ideal client avatar and attracting the people that are actually attracted to the true 100% authentic you, like it makes everything so much easier. I mean, I'm sure the majority of people on this call listen to Gary Vee. Like this isn't rocket science. Gary Vee says it in every single thing that he ever says. Just be your true 100% authentic self and like the rest will fall into place. And like when I started doing that, that's when everything started working. It wasn't when I was listening to other people's recommendations of like, wear this suit and tie, call between these hours. Like it was when I just started being myself. And like, I had a viral listing last Christmas. I'm sure you remember it, Nick, the whole Santa Claus in a morph suit and sexy Mrs. Claus. And like,
yes, that was you. I forgot.
Yeah, that was me. I just actually dropped a video late last night of bringing Santa back. So it was like
in LabCoatAgents, that went nuts. Oh my God.
So anyways, I had
wait, this guy's in my market.
So yeah, anyways, it was Santa Claus in a morph suit, and in the listing photos, it was me in a morph suit and then an attractive female wearing a sexy Mrs. Claus outfit, and she was like tied up in Christmas lights. And like the idea here was like this condo, everything listed in this condominium complex in Birmingham, had been on the market for over a year. I had to do something different to make it stand out. And like, dude, I got 4,000 leads in 24 hours. It was on
channel. No way. Well, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Leads? Or were they
website signups? I mean, they didn't most of them turn into anything, but like, I mean, that's still powerful, dude. Like,
yeah, of course, dude.
David,
I'm not
downplaying
that.
About it for 10 minutes. Like it was rad. And
well,
I got publicity just for being myself and being different, you know. And I did it in a market that is like super uptight. I mean, you know, Birmingham, it's a completely different world out there, and it pissed off a lot of people. Like the MLS asked me to remove the photos. I threw up a big FU, told them to show me what I'm in violation of, and then I was glad to remove them, but I stood my ground. My broker also said the same thing. They asked me to remove them, and I did the same thing. If you can show me something I'm in violation of, I will gladly take them down, but until then, like I'm making a stand. And my broker ended up backing me after they did more research. The MLS backed off and they stayed. But moral of the story is like, I mean, I do whatever it takes to get my clients the best results. And like, if that's, you know, pushing the envelope a little, oh, well, I mean, I just dropped obviously Christmas is around the corner. So I put on the morph suit yesterday. And I sat in a child's trailer attached to the back of a bike, being Santa's sleigh, had someone ride it up, and then I got out of the stroller and was like, you know, yo, Santa's back and his sack is full. You know, like I do ridiculous stuff. Go on my Facebook, Nick. You can see it.
Chris, I mean, you're not lying. He has lots of gifts to give out.
Right? But like, That's the thing. Like I am me. I don't like, I've literally gotten to the point in the last like 6 months, like I don't censor myself at all. Like my personal brand is my personal brand. And if you don't like it, go somewhere else. Like I attract who I want to work with. And like, that's that. I'm doing just fine. I don't need Karen's support over here. Like, I mean, it is what it is. And I mean, I recently closed a deal with a Karen and like, I make Karen jokes with her. It's great.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's just all about being yourself. It doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter if you've got giant holes in your ears, if you've got tattoos, if you're wearing a shirt that half your chest is showing. Like it's about being you, and people connect to that. And like circling back to that whole vulnerability thing, the reason I did that is like, honestly, like I appear super happy all the time on social media, but like that's just who I am. I have a very positive mindset, and I am all about like law of attraction and like putting out in the world what I want to get back. But at the end of the day, like I've been miserable this year. Like a relationship ended that, I mean, a 6-year relationship with my son's mom. And like that on top of everything that's going on has sucked. And I've basically been depressed, but like most of the world, most of my clients think that like I'm just this super happy dude. And by being vulnerable for a minute and making a post like that, all of a sudden, all of those people are like, wow, this dude's real as fuck. And
yeah,
am I allowed to swear on here? You can kind of,
yeah, I mean, totally.
when it comes to dropping F-bombs and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, being vulnerable, man, like how many people can connect with you being vulnerable like that? I mean, that posted phenomenal. And then like a couple days later, I did my sobriety date was on the 15th of this month. So I did a sobriety post right after that. And like in my sobriety post, I shared that I have 2 DUIs. Like that's part of my past, and I'm not ashamed of it. And that's something that like I'm okay putting out there, because like I know who I am, and I'm happy with who I am. Like I overcame a lot since that time. And like, if you want to look down on me because I have 2 DUIs from 7 years ago, like go right ahead. But we probably wouldn't get along anyway.
Interesting that you bring that up though, Chris, because I just want to mention before I forget, we live in a world now where, yes, it's very hard to escape mistakes, right? That you made 7, 10, 18, 25 years ago. You know, it's like, ooh, you know, when you hear about someone who, you know, got cast in a movie and 25 years ago, like, you know, 10 years ago, a tweet was discovered when they were like in college drinking at a party. You know, it's like we need to, and with your DUIs, listen, you are younger. It was a long time ago. You clearly had a drinking problem. You've fixed it, right? Are we going to hold those things against people for the rest of their lives? We're not going to ever allow people to grow. So yeah, I love that you talk about that, because it's real, and it happened, and you've grown up and you've moved past it, and everyone else needs to at the same time, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's all about how you react to that situation, and then whether you let it destroy your life or whether you let it be something that you build a foundation to build something bigger than your wildest dreams on. And like, that's kind of what I've done. Like the getting sober has really taught me like a whole new way of life. And that's what I incorporate into my business, is like who I am through sobriety. And like, I mean, that's just a genuine good person. I mean, like I like helping people, and like, that's what it's about.
Yep.
I had to look up my volume today because I saw that you put the 100 transactions out there. And quite frankly, I don't give a fuck what my volume is. It's more about helping people. So I
just put 100 transactions because you said it was. So
I don't think I ever said that. It's
yeah, you did.
It's 140. That's what we'll close this year. But like,
I said over 100. I said
yeah,
over.
and like I had to look it up because honestly, I had no idea, Nick. Like I care about helping people, and that's it. Like I don't really care what my volume is. I care about helping people and like doing the best job for my clients. And like in preparation for this, like, yeah, I went and like looked up my volume. I looked up my number of transactions just so I knew in case you asked. But like, at the end of the day, for me, it's about helping people. I don't care like how much money I'm putting in.
No, I agree.
I'm helping people and building a team that is like different. It is focused on this relationships over transaction, and it's about being yourself. Like there's so much power in that. And like this brand has grown into something like that I never could have expected. And like, we're just now starting to get like to catch a lot of steam, and like seeing a lot of people attracted to us, which has been super cool. Like when we first started this, when I first brought Tony and Ryan on board, we actually got approached by a company called Studio Center Entertainment. And they actually signed us to a talent hold agreement, and we did like a sizzle reel, and they pitched us to HGTV and Magnolia and all that, and actually tried to get
Oh, that'd be a great show.
It didn't pan out, but like we were pretty boring at that time. And like I think now I think about like what I've done since then, and like the trajectory I'm on, and like the fact that I've like completely stopped censoring myself at all, and I'm just like this funny realtor at this point. And like I don't know, it's not a dream of mine anymore. It's kind of a goal of mine to like get my own TV show, because like it's something that like is so personal to me, and it is so unique in this industry, and like I'm going to take advantage of it. If everybody else is going to be afraid of being different, like I'm going to capitalize on being different.
Yeah. So I just want to mention that, you know, I completely agree with you. There's, in terms of, listen, your clients have to be happy. It's a customer service business, you know, like there's no point in doing 200, 300 transactions if, you know, if people are having terrible experiences. And so the reason I wanted to emphasize that is because when we talk about, we have conversations about, you know, the way people present themselves, right? That always comes up. And, you know, I wanted to prove to our group, to our community, that it doesn't matter. You can still have a successful business. It doesn't matter what I mean, look, you don't look unprofessional because that's you.
Yeah.
Right. You're not sloppy, right? You dress well. I've seen your images on social media. Like you look put together and professional. And so as long as you own yourself and own your style and you are put together, you know, it doesn't matter. And it's part of your brand, and people are attracted to a brand, and then they're attracted to the person because they can relate to that person in some way, shape, or form. Like for me, you know, I'm big on social media about my family, you know, my kids, my mental health. And so I attract people who are going through similar things that I'm going through, even though some of the things I say may not be popular, but I don't care, because I'm not going to pretend that I'm someone else. And that's what you do. And that's what I find really commendable. So yeah, that's kind of why I wanted to let everybody know. So you hire agents on your team, and some of them are very clean cut with suits, right? So like, it's like, you know, you don't have to have tattoos to work for Chris, you know?
No, so Tony's got a decent amount. Ryan doesn't have any at all, and Ryan is in suit and tie, like to a T. And Tony's super well dressed as well. But I mean, that's the thing, is like it's not about having ink, not having ink. It's not about wearing a suit, not wearing a suit. It's about being yourself. Like I want people on my team that are themselves and like want to build a brand of being themselves, and not like take someone and put them into this mold that's from the 80s and, you know, just make them make that work. And I honestly, that's probably half the reason the failure rate in this industry is so high, because like we're trying to take all these different groups of people, shove them in this box and tell them that they have to do everything just like this. And it's like, okay, so we've got 1,000 agents in this tiny market here that are all identical to each other.
Got to stand out.
And it's just like, yeah, I mean, like stand out, do you, and like build something for yourself off of that. I mean, I mean, honestly, it's been incredibly easy for me. I'm not special by any means. Like I didn't go to college. I dropped out of college twice because drinking was too important to me at that time. And like, I'm not anything special. I mean, I went out there and I built a brand around myself and have pushed that brand, and like have focused on social media and digital marketing, because that's where we should be. I mean, there's no reason why real estate should just now, because of COVID, be coming around and using virtual tours. I had a Matterport camera when I was licensed for 6 months. Like,
right.
I was a brand new agent and I had a 3D camera. Like, why are they just now starting to like come around after COVID hit? Why was I one of the biggest ad spenders on Facebook in the state of Michigan until COVID hit? And then all the big players jumped on. Like, what is the reason for that? Like, the internet is the biggest form of marketing and nobody's taking advantage of it. So like, yeah, I mean, nobody else.
I agree with you 100%. 100%.
Nobody else wants to deal with it. I'll take advantage of it. So
yeah. You mentioned that, you know, a lot of your business comes from past clients, referrals, you know, you're very customer service oriented. So like, what does, you know, a normal day look like for you, you know, in your business? So how are you staying in front of people, you know, on a regular basis and generating that in that business? Because you did say you do a lot of digital marketing on social media. So I'm assuming, you know, some of the business does come from there, but yeah, what's a regular day look like for you and your team?
So me personally, I do basically all of the digital marketing, all of the social media stuff, and that we recently hired a digital marketing guy to actually do like our sponsored ads and our paid advertising. But up until 6 months ago, I was doing all of that as well. So I actually took. I had somebody design a Facebook marketing course kind of with me as their guinea pig and went through this like super in-depth course and kind of learned how to do all of that and was doing that for the longest time until it was just like, I can't do everything and I need to start delegating. So now I do all of like the organic social media post. I create a ton of content and that's really like what I do is just create content. And then Tony, one of my business partners, he's essentially the guy that does the cold calls and leads that with the team. And when I say cold calls, ours are quite a bit different. I mean, I mentioned Ricky Cruz, and that's like where the entire backbone of my team falls. So everything is relationships over transactions, and our cold calls aren't calling FISBOs and expireds and just, you know, annoying the shit out of them asking for their business. It's just about helping people and having phone call, letting people know like, hey, we sold this house in your neighborhood. Just wanted to reach out and see if there's anything in the world we can do for you. And like the response to something like that is so much greater than like this traditional way of cold calling that everyone thinks they have to do. Like, yeah, I mean, cold calling sucks, but when you do it in a way that like isn't offending people and like doing it in a way that like, you would want somebody to call you, it's remarkable how much better the results are. But yeah, I mean, me personally, I'm to a point where I've kind of just focus on my personal sphere and building off of that and any referrals I get from that. Anything else that I generate off Facebook or anything like that is just me feeding the team. So at the highest point, we were getting probably 350 leads a month off of our Facebook ad spend, which our Facebook ad spend isn't like that ridiculous. We spend $3,000 a month on Facebook ads. Like we're not one of these guys that's out there spending 20 grand a month, which there are dudes that do that. And like, wow, the amount of business you can generate off something like that is absolutely incredible. But yeah, I mean, it's majority of our business is just from either organic social media posts or paid advertisements through social media, and then referrals. We get something off of a cold call every once in a while, but majority of it's just off of that brand that we're building. And like the nice thing about it, I recently had somebody ask me like, what do you do in a listing presentation that's so different that like makes your success rate with a listing presentation like so high? And like honestly, building a powerful brand like this, it's not really a question. Most listing presentations I go into, it's not a question of like, I'm going to work with either this agent or this agent. It's I'm just going out there to list the home because they've already decided based on that brand that I've built, which is super powerful. Like you're not competing as much because like you've been in front of these people for a year. I mean, they know exactly who you are. I mean, these vulnerability posts, they know exactly what they're expecting when I walk in that door. And most of the time they've already made up their mind of who they're going to work. So it's a lot less competition, a lot less nervousness on my end because I'm not going in there fighting for a listing. Generally, it's like I walk in and it's already mine. And I just show them, you know, what I do different. But yeah, I mean, that's majority of our business comes from like our social media, and whether that's actually leads that are coming in or just people reaching out off organic post in that. Majority of it comes from that.
What kind of paid advertisement are you running for like a majority of what does it look like? Is it just listed, just sold? Is it brand awareness? What's that look like?
So when I was running them, I was basically doing a little bit of everything. So the guy that's doing our campaign now, he's doing a wonderful job. So he's taking it in a lot more intentional direction. So he builds out a separate campaign for us once a month and kind of sends it over for review and then puts it out there. So it's got a lot of like our lifestyle feel to it. So he'll run different ads based off of lifestyle, some that'll be based more around like honestly, none of them are just listed or just sold anymore. It's all bigger than that. It's all more personable than that. And it's all something that kind of has more of that brand awareness and that lifestyle feel to it. But a lot of them, it's like, you know, are you looking for your dream home? And then it'll have like a corny joke in there, something that's like more personable to us as opposed to like what a traditional realtor would put out there. And then they just, you know, fill out a lead form and drops into our KV Core database like that. And that's kind of another thing to talk about is like the way that I've been able to build such a strong brand within a brokerage that, like, I don't know, kind of almost feels like its own brokerage in itself. So we are brokered by EXP. We're a managing broker in Shelby Township. So Ryan's our broker over there. But I mean, just the power that we have with the technology that they offer us is pretty incredible. And it's really allowed us to like do our own thing here. And I feel that they've been a lot more lenient with me and my brand than majority of brokers would be, which is super cool because it allows you to build something like so genuine to you, where some other brokers, you might, I mean, honestly, if I was at a KW or a Remax still, I feel like I probably wouldn't be able to do what I've been doing. I feel like I'd probably have gotten quite a few slaps on the wrist at this point. And like, I do still occasionally get them with my broker. Right. But generally they're pretty willing to help me kind of like straddle this line that I've been on of like, okay, you're taking it a little too far, Chris. And like, okay, that's the perfect amount.
Yeah. So Chris, let's talk about I want to talk about your team structure. How's that look? You know, like you said, you had a marketing person. What are the other positions on your team that you currently have?
So we just have a transaction coordinator. She's also a licensed agent. Her name's Michelle. She's wonderful. She's the backbone of our team. I mean, it's remarkable like how well having a good transaction coordinator can serve you. And then aside from that, it's just all agents. So me, Ryan, Tony, Phil, Vinny. We've got a part-time Julian, and then we just recently have parted ways with a couple others. But I mean, like we're always looking to grow, always looking to add more agents. Right now, it's pretty standard, just transaction coordinator, than some other licensed agents, but it's something that I've got very, very large goals for. I mean, this is something that I want to take across state lines. I want it to become a national brand. And I've got big goals, big dreams with it. And I mean, this is only 2.5 years into it. So yeah, I'm excited to see where it'll be at in 10 years, you know?
Yeah. Oh, totally. It's very brandable. Why don't we talk about some of the tattoos? What do they mean? Which is the one you got first?
My first one, you can't see anymore. It's been covered. Do you want to see the cover up and I can explain the story?
So you had it and you removed it.
I have a giant minotaur.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
On my stomach. So the story behind this is when I was 18, I went out and got a couple tattoos, you know, without thinking much into it. And, you know, nautical stars were all the rage back in the early 90s. So I got nautical stars tattooed on my hips for my first tattoo, you know, something I was real proud of most of my life, or something I regretted immediately after doing it.
Right.
So I eventually covered the entire thing by just blasting my entire stomach with a tattoo, because, you know, it's the most manly way to cover hips on your tattoos on your hips, right?
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely a hobby for me. I'm pretty much covered. My torso's covered. My right arm's covered. My legs are pretty well covered. And I mean, I don't plan on stopping anytime soon just because of the industry I'm in. Like my hands are tattoos. There's no hiding it from me. So like, if you hate it, I mean, so be it. But like what I found, and like this is something I actually learned in a business class when I was at the bike shop out in California. The guy teaching it kind of brought up the fact he had a couple tattoos, like nothing too over the top, but he brought up the fact that like every once in a while he gets asked like, you know, how's that affect you when it comes to business? And he said something that's going to stick with me the rest of my life. If you've got the personality to overcome the preconceived notions that people like put on you from your tattoos, then like you're fine. If you don't have the personality to overcome that, then yeah, you're probably dead in the water. But like I have found that to be the truest statement that I've ever heard. I recently I recently sold a house for an older Indian couple. Listing presentation, they were staring me up and down. I could see their eyes piercing through me. And I was in shorts and like a button-up t-shirt, and I could see their eyes just piercing through me the entire listing presentation. Anyways, they hired me. We just closed on it like a week ago. And I swear to God, this guy has told me like that he loves me. He's told me that like I'm the realtor for the rest of his life, that his family will only use me. And like, this is somebody that like at first glance, like was judging me like pretty harshly, like staring through me. And like, old people love me. I mean, it's just something like if you have the personality that you can like win people over, it doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter if you're covered in tattoos. I mean, honestly, with my personality, I could put a giant tattoo on my face and I'm sure I'd still be fine. But everybody out there has got like these ideas that, if you're tattooed, you can't be in this industry. If you're tattooed, you can't be a professional. And like, that's just not the case. Like, it's not like, I keep mentioning it, but it's not 1980 anymore. Like, come on, grow up. Let's get with it, guys.
Like, I love tattoos on other people. My wife has 7 of them, but I just can't bring myself to get one because I'm so indecisive. Right.
I got you, Nick. We're going to hang out. I'm going to stroke your beard a little bit. And we're going to go to a local tattoo shop and we're going to get you taken care of. Your wife's going to love me for bringing you into our world.
But I'm nervous because I can't even, it takes me an hour to decide what I want on a menu when I go to the restaurant. And so I'm like, I know that I'm going to get a tattoo. And right after it, I'm like, I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, I should have gotten the other one. And it's like, that's the thing that worries me, man.
Okay. So I got this, Nick. Jeff Chan just said in the chat, we should do it live. I think we definitely do a podcast, me and you live from a tattoo studio, and we get you your first tattoo. I think it'll be great. We can do like my Inked Agent logo with like inside of a heart with an arrow going through it, something like that. I can get a silhouette of you with your beard like on my ass. I'm all about it. Let's do it.
All right, I'm sold. But that's so funny. Someone said, Rachel said, there's nothing better than having your favorite work of art with you wherever you go. Yeah, so my wife has everything on her represents something about her sisters or her grandmother. They mean a lot to her. And I think she's going to get another one pretty soon, but they're just she's got like seagulls. See, she has a flock of seagulls over here because when she was 6 years old, she got attacked by seagulls on the beach. She has a really cool tattoo of a cat on her foot because her grandmother, who recently just passed away at the age of like 95, seemed to just have 9 lives. Like, you know what I mean? She's broken her hip like 17 times and, just kept going. So the cat represents her 9 lives. Then she's got a bunch that represent her and her sisters. But yeah, I just have to think of something that's meaningful and, but this is not me confirming this is happening.
To everyone listening here, I will get Nick to get his first tattoo.
Why don't I just rip the Band-Aid off and do a sleeve?
Yeah, I mean, my brother's a tattoo artist, so I got you, man.
Oh, okay. Sounds good. But yeah, man, I appreciate this. It's, I think, we definitely need to, right now we're living in a time where everybody is so opinionated and everybody's so, stuck in this certain way. And this is how it has to be done. And I think we've always been like that, but right now it's just amplified. And, people say to me, Nick, there's some people who they just don't like the things that you say. I'm like, well, then I don't care. Like, this is me. Like, I have certain things that I want to get out into the world. And if someone doesn't appreciate it, then that's not someone I want to spend my time with. But if someone wants to talk to me about it and understand it more, I am wide open to that. And I think that that's a conversation that you are now bringing that in this industry is long overdue, So,
yeah, I mean, dude, it's like that ideal client avatar I mentioned. Like, one person is never going to appeal to everyone in our local market. So like, why are we trying to cater to everyone? By trying to cater to everyone, we're putting ourselves in a box. We're not showing what we're actually capable of because we're kind of bringing everything down to a level that's safe to put across to everyone. Bubbly?
Dude, is this a bubbly commercial? I've got blackberry. My favorite.
I've got strawberry and lime on me.
Do you drink coffee, by the way? Do you drink it? Okay, because
Okay, 4-ounce Colombian.
Well, Aha is the new. So Bubbly's made by Pepsi. Aha is made by Coca-Cola, and this is my favorite. It's black cherry coffee, and it's got 30 milligrams of caffeine. It's very delicious and just a slight hint of coffee, and it's a good little pick-me-up. But yeah, Bubbly and Aha. I'm a big seltzer drinker. Love
and
it.
For anyone working at those two companies, hit Nick and myself up, and we will gladly, do some content creation for the brands, help you guys push it. Just a little kickback.
I just thought of my first tattoo. My first tattoo is the Bubbly logo. Okay, there we go.
Nice. I'll take it.
Yeah. So anyway, you were saying, sorry.
But I mean, the whole ideal client avatar, Nick, like, I mean, there's no way that one of us is going to appeal to everyone out there. And we're bringing ourselves down to this level to like make it so that we do. But in doing that, we're not appealing to the people that we should be appealing to just by being ourselves. Which is basically what I've been doing lately is like, I don't censor my stuff. Like the whole Santa post that I did yesterday, like Santa's back and his sack is full. Like, yeah, that's ridiculously over the top and probably pushed a lot of people away from ever using me. But like the people that I want to work with think that's hilarious. And like, that's what I'm about. I'm not looking to like help those people that I have to not be myself around. Like I'm looking to help the people that like me for me, you know? It makes everything a lot easier. It makes the entire experience a lot easier. And you end up finding more success that way.
Yeah, totally. So anyway, man, I loved having you on. I thought that this was, really a conversation that needed to, be had. And I think, brought a lot of clarity. And I think transparency is key. And we need to open up our minds a little bit and realize that, listen, there's not one right way to do this, right? We can all do this in our own way, and we become entrepreneurs because we want to be able to run a business the way we want to run it and be the people that we want to be. And listen, like you said, like Steve Jobs, I think, said, if I want to please everybody, I'd sell ice cream. But then at the same time, in addition to that, what about people who are lactose intolerant? You're going to piss them off, right? So it's like you can't ever win.
Yeah.
So just be you and stop worrying about what other people do or look like or say, and just be the professional that you are and be the person that you are and be just like own it, right? It's not always sunshine and rainbows, and we have to let others know that to be true to themselves, really, when it comes down to it. Just be yourself, be true to yourself. So I appreciate you being with us today. I hope that I know that there's a lot of nuggets. People on Facebook were saying that was great. People in the chat here on Zoom saying it was great. So thank you so much. If anyone has any referrals for Chris, he's in the Pontiac area. What areas of Michigan do you cover, Chris?
Basically all of Metro Detroit. So, I mean, up through Genesee County and then down to Detroit. So any of Metro Detroit, Oakland, Macomb, or Wayne County. And like I said, we've got an office over in Shelby Township in Macomb. And then also the one in Pontiac. And if anybody is a local agent that's looking to join a cool team, we're always looking to add new agents as well. So
sweet, dude. Well, thanks for joining us. Reach out to Chris. I mean, you can't miss him, right? So he's pretty recognized. Chris, have an awesome day, man. We're happy you joined us. See you soon.
Thanks a lot, guys. Have a good day.